Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again. Today we are going to be upgrading the high beams and your low beams on this Honda Civic here. This is a 2012. This is actually my old car. Still in the family. They needed some new lights, and Nilight reached out to me and asked if I wanted to install some of their bulbs. So I said sure. Send it out for the Honda here. I'll get them installed, and then you guys can see the difference between the two. So just to give you a quick rundown, you can see the washer fluid tube is out. That goes right over here. You got the little hole there. That is where this goes. It's just a little plug that holds it on, and then you just wiggle it out. It's just a little bit of a bump here. You got to pull it out because the bulb is in here, which you'll see when we get there, and you need that out of the way to get it. Same thing on this side. If I move the rag, you can see you got two little holes there. So this actually just goes on there like that to keep dirt and grime and gunk from getting sucked up into there. And it's just one little tab here, and then again, those two holes are just two little clips. So pop the two little clips out, wiggle that tab, that gets out of the way. Passenger side, you just literally take this out, give it a little bit of a wiggle and a pull up, and it'll pop right out, and then you're good to go starting on the bulbs. And now when you look at the car, your high beams are in the middle and your low beams are on the outside. So don't get them mixed up when you put them in, because it's going to be opposite way around and you're going to have a bad time. And again, the bulbs we are using are Nilight LED lighting. I'll put the link and everything for this specific one, plus their website in the description, so you can go down if you want to pick some of these up for yourself. Not sponsored in any way, just going to put them in, give you an honest review of how they fit and how they work. But if you are looking for this specific car, this is 9005 and a 9006. That's the LED version you need for low beams, high beams. And now inside the box, you get a little baggie with your instruction manual, how to put it on. They give you some zip ties and these little double-sided sticky pads. You'll see what we get those for in a few minutes. You get your bulbs themselves. Again, there's two 9005s and two 9006s. Pull it out of there nice and gently. And you'll see underneath, you get a pair of gloves because you don't really want to touch these with your fingers. And then again, they're all labeled by the stickers. So you can see 9005, 9005, and those two are labeled 9006. So you won't have to get them mixed up, because just looking at them, they look the same. And then you get your little box here that makes your halogen system be able to run LEDs. It's just a plug and play. And that is what those sticky pads are for. You can put it on there, stick it in place. You won't have to worry about that jiggling around under your hood. And then the little zap straps, you can tie up the wire just to keep everything looking clean and out of the way. Alright, so this is kind of my test road for these videos. It doesn't have much lights, except for, of course, where they're building now. They got this giant street light. But other than that, you can see you got your plain yellow light. This is just your headlights as we're driving around. High beams, they make the sides brighter, but it doesn't really go, I would say, too much further down the road, really. It's more just a brighter yellow light, and it goes out to the sides. It lights up the signs and stuff further down, but other than that, not really much difference between the two. So don't mind the big crack in the window, that's getting fixed soon. But as for this will be your little before. So let's get home, get them installed, and I'll show you the after. Alright, so now this is a little hard to do and film at the same time. But if you look in there, that white plug right there is your low beam. You can just reach in, pull, and they come apart. And then down in here is your high beam. So you can see that's the blue plug. Blue plug is high beam, other one is low beam. And then same thing, if you come to the other side on the passenger end, your high beam is easy to get to. It's right here in the front. But your low beam is tucked up behind all the piping and stuff here. That's why you have to remove that filler tube just to get your hand in there. And same thing, just pull, they unplug, and then you'll twist the light and it'll pull right out. And as for these plugs themselves, they just have this little push tab. You got a little bit of a grippy section here. You just push down on that and it'll lift up on the top side. You can see it wiggling there. Doesn't need much, but it just lifts up on that side. And then you just give it a wiggle and a pull. It'll pop right out. And then it'll be upside down here for you guys. But to get your bulbs out, just grab it, twist. It'll do kind of a half turn, quarter turn, and then you just wiggle. And out she comes, just like that. And then I recommend in all my lighting videos, yes, you are upgrading to LEDs. Put these in the box and keep them, because you never know what's going to happen if it happens to burn out or whatever the case may be. At least you're not scrounging up for a bulb right away. You got this on hand, you can go home, switch it out, and then deal with the LED later on. And then here you go. This is your low beam. It says 9006. So the 9006 on the outside for your normal headlights. 9005 will be the inside for your high beams. All right, now again, when you put these in, they do recommend you use gloves. I find that they pick up more dirt than they keep out, especially on a car that's in rough shape or older. It hasn't really been kept up with cleaning and stuff. So just don't touch the bulb. Don't touch anything past that little red rubber gasket there, and you're good. That keeps all the dirt out when you get this in. On the back here, you've got your little propeller that keeps this thing cool when it's actually on and running. So sometimes, depending how warm they get, when you shut off your car, you'll actually hear those going. So don't freak out. It'll go for maybe a minute or less, and it'll turn off. What it's doing is just keeping this thing cool, so they last as long as they're supposed to, and it won't burn out on you. But all you got to do, you can see it's got 3 little wings on there. You want to put it in sideways into the hole, and you want to turn clockwise. That'll lock it. You'll feel it lock because it'll kind of get a little bit of tension, and then it'll go clunk. And when you get that clunk, the bulb is pointing nice and straight. It'll be up and down like that, and then it's in. So again, it's a little bit of tight quarters in here, and the engine is still hot, but you aim for that little hole, go in, and it will go all the way up to this point. So put it in, give it a twist, don't touch the bulb, keep all the dirt off, and then once you got your bulb in place, this harness attached to the new LED just clips right into the harness from the car. Of course, the little tab goes towards the clip, so when you push it in, you get that click, she's in, and that's it. Then you can find those sticky pads, and we'll just put this little box up somewhere in a second here. Alright, so for the driver's side, I took the battery out just to give you guys a better view and give myself a little more room in here. But you can see they're all in. You just plug everything back in. I got this zip tied just up out of the way. As long as it doesn't wiggle and it's not going to be on anything hot or that's going to move around a lot, you're good. And then again, you'll be upside down. But I put the double-sided sticky tape on the 2 pieces here. You can see it there. Just stick them out of the way again so they're not jiggling around, rattling in your hood here. And then you can drop the battery back in. We'll tidy up that side, and then we're done. And one little tip I recommend to you is when you start this project like I'm doing, pull your car up to the wall, turn the lights on, and put a little bit of tape on the wall. So those 2 are your low beams. That's the top of the light. So you don't want it going up above that because it's going to be blinding people while you're driving. This is the high beam. That's how high the light goes with the high beams. So now the car's not going to move while we put the lights in. So when you put them in, turn them back on, you can make sure that they are sitting level and they're not going to be bouncing around or too high, too low. So as long as you turn it on and it's in the same level, you're all good to go. All right, so now that we got her all done, turn them on. There you go. You can see lines up with the tape perfectly. High beams, pretty much you can see where I kind of went off of the light. So that's enough against the wall. Let's take it out and see how they work. All right, so here we are back on the same road with the Nilight LEDs installed, and this is driving, and you can see the one bright light again. but it gives you a much whiter light, obviously, because they're LEDs. They light up the sides quite well, and this is, I would say, shining about the distance that the high beams were originally. I don't know if the video will pick it up, but it lights up the signs down there quite well. And then if we hit the high beams now, you can see it lights up all the way to the top of the trees and just way further down the road. Again, these videos on YouTube, they don't really do justice on these lights. That's why I'm kind of hoping, driving down the same road like this, if you go back and forth between the old and new, that you can kind of tell off of, say, like the grass on the side of the road and the street lights and trees and bushes and stuff, just how bright these LEDs can get. And again, I don't want to high beam too many people, but we're coming up to the crossroad. So if we turn them on, it lights up all the way across, and you can see just how well it works. Hopefully through the giant crack on this window, which is the next thing that's going to go down for this car, but it's not mine, so she'll get it fixed. It looks good. Be able to see much better in the dark now. If you want to pick these up, like I said, down in the comments or down in the description, the link is there. Go pick yourself up a set. Let me know how they work. Like and subscribe, and hopefully we catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody.